Donald Trump was the most famous and interesting billionaire in the U.S. long before he ran for president. Once thought to be a long shot for the presidency, the 74-year-old is now out of office after just one term, but he is still a powerful member of the Republican Party. In today's video, we'll talk about how Trump became one of the most influential people in the world. But before we start our video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon as well. People were skeptical about him running for president in 2016 because of his controversial views on immigration and his crazy campaign style. They were also skeptical because he was a famous person in the past. But the businessman had the last laugh when, against all odds, he beat much more experienced politicians in the Republican primary race. Then, he took it a step further by beating Hillary Clinton in the presidential election, which was one of the most divisive and controversial in recent history. Early life. Mr. Trump is the fourth child of Fred Trump, who owns a lot of land in New York. Even though his family was wealthy, he had to work at the bottom of his father's company and was sent to a military academy when he was 13 for acting up in school. After going to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, he became the favorite to take over for his father when his older brother Fred decided to become a pilot. Fred Trump died at age 43 from alcoholism. His brother says that because of this, he never drank or smoked again. Mr. Trump says that before he joined the company, his father gave him a small loan of $1 million. He helped his father run a large number of residential housing projects in the boroughs of New York City. In 1971, he took over the company and renamed it the Trump Organization. In 1999, his father died. Mr. Trump said at the time, "My father gave me my drive." The mogul. Mr. Trump moved his family's business from residential buildings in Brooklyn and Queens to flashy projects in Manhattan. He turned the rundown Commodore Hotel into the Grand Hyatt and built the 68-story Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue, which is the most famous Trump property. Trump Place, Trump World Tower, Trump International Hotel and Tower, and other buildings with the famous name came next. The Philippines, Mumbai, and Istanbul all have Trump Towers. And Mr. Trump built hotels and casinos, which is a part of his business that has led to 4 times when he has had to file for bankruptcy. He also made a lot of money in the business of entertainment. Mr. Trump said he was interested in running for president as early as 1987. He even ran as a Reform Party candidate in 2000. After 2008, he became one of the most vocal members of the birther movement, which questioned whether Barack Obama was born in the U.S. These claims have been thoroughly debunked. Mr. Obama was born in Hawaii. Mr. Trump finally said that the claims were not true, but, as is his style, he did not apologize. Mr. Trump didn't say for sure that he was running for the White House until June 2015. "We need someone who will take this country by the horns and make it great again. That's possible." In his speech announcing his candidacy, he said that because he didn't need to raise money, he didn't have to answer to any special interests. He said this made him the perfect outsider candidate. Mr. Trump ran a controversial campaign under the slogan, "Make America Great Again." He promised to improve the American economy, build a wall on the border between the U.S. and Mexico, and temporarily stop Muslims from coming to the U.S. until our country's leaders can figure out what's going on. Even though there were a lot of protests at his campaign events, and Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio worked hard to stop him. Mr. Trump became the likely Republican nominee for president after the Indiana primary. The election winner. Mr. Trump's campaign for president in 2016 was full of controversies. For example, a recording of him making lewd comments about women in 2005 came to light, and people, including members of his own party, said he wasn't fit for office. But he told his army of supporters that he would not listen to the polls, which showed that he was usually behind Hillary Clinton, and that if he won, he would take on the political establishment and drain the swamp in Washington. He was inspired by the successful campaign to get Britain out of the European Union. He said Brexit times 10 was what he would do. As election day got closer, few experts thought it would happen, even though a new controversy over an FBI investigation into his opponent's emails gave his campaign a late boost. His supporters were able to see him in the Oval Office 2 days after the election, when he met with President Obama to talk about the transition. This was still a shock to everyone in the U.S. He is the first U.S. president who has never run for office or served in the military. This means that even before he became the 45th president on January 20, 2017, he had already made history. In January 2017, he signed his first executive order that stopped people from traveling from 7 countries, most of which were mostly Muslim. Critics said that the ban was racist, but the Supreme Court upheld it. Months later, when he fired FBI Director James Comey, he shocked Washington. In a later report, Special Counsel Robert Mueller, who looked into claims of collusion between the 2016 Trump campaign and Russia, said that the sudden firing could have been a way to get around the law. The investigation that took 2 years did not find any criminal collusion. Soon after that, Mr. Trump was accused of pressuring a foreign government to find dirt on his Democratic rival, Joe Biden. The accusations led to an impeachment investigation led by the Democrats, and Mr. Trump became only the 3rd U.S. president in history to be removed from office this way. But Mr. Trump was able to keep his supporters because he kept some of the promises he made during his campaign. The fact that he put 3 right-leaning justices on the Supreme Court will likely be his most lasting contribution to the country. The coronavirus pandemic took up most of the 2020 election year for him. He got a lot of flack for how he dealt with the crisis, since the U.S. has the most deaths and infections of any country in the world. After being diagnosed with COVID-19 in October, the tireless campaigner had to take a break from the road. Even though he got more votes than any other presidential candidate except Joe Biden, who got 7 million more, he eventually lost the election to Joe Biden, who was running as a Democrat. But Mr. Trump's unproven claims after the election that there was a lot of fraud at the polls and that votes were stolen changed history in a different way. His second historic impeachment, which was a first for an American president, was because he was accused of encouraging a mob to storm the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. That riot happened after Mr. Trump spoke at a Save America rally that was held to protest the results of the presidential election. The Senate later cleared the former president of all charges. Even though some top politicians have distanced themselves from Mr. Trump recently, he still has a lot of power over the party and has hinted that he might run for a second term. So that's it for today. If you liked the video, leave a comment and subscribe to our channel. Press the bell icon for latest updates. Thanks for watching.